Hello everyone, Neogleen here, and welcome back to talking about the Edain mod today. Not going to actually be playing the game, just going to be talking about the two updates that the Edain team have brought out regarding the next patch 4.8.2, and also I'm going to be going over the changes and slash updates that's going to be coming to Unchained as well, since they made an article about that as well on their ModDB page. Or if you've got Discord, you can see it through the combined Edain Discord page as well, which is where I get all my information on the patch updates from. Now, originally I was going to make some just Edain skirmish videos this week, which is, again, what I probably will do if it weren't so bloody warm. It's so uncomfortable trying to make videos in this heat. I'm constantly sweating. It's awful. And also I'm going through a lot of stuff personally. And this is a way for me to still make content and not really stress myself out trying to play some games. So, I'm going to be talking about the Road to Edain 4.8.2, starting with the Iron Hills rework. So now, I'm just going to read through the article bit by bit, and I'm going to talk about every image that comes up. So, firstly, for years now, it has been a running joke that Edain must include a dwarf rework in every major patch. True to this tradition, Lord LSR has meticulously reworked many of the dwarf models from units to heroes to offer them updated visuals and fresh designs, bringing them closer to the Weta Workshop concepts seen in the Hobbit films. Today we want to delve into the thoughts behind and the development process of these new designs. So the Iron Hills is what this is basically all about. And there's a lot of lovely new polished designs. And I must say, this does make me want to play the Iron Hills more. So, the use of the Iron Hills. Start with the Guardians and Spearmen. The new models are even closer to their cinematic counterparts. The forked beard inherited by their book description remains, but the middle fork has been slightly extended for better visual balance. In the origin, the Iron Hills dwarves only had black beards. If they still were predominantly featured black beards, variations in beard colour to add diversity has been implemented. You may also notice that only the Spearmen and Guardians are shown here. That's because the Crossbowmen and Ironbreakers have undergone slightly more significant changes. You see here, can't really zoom in on this, but hopefully that's zoomed in enough. In fact, no, I can zoom in. In fact, I'll probably keep it like this as well, so you can see the different beard colours, how the middle tuft of the beard goes a little bit further down. You've got a grey beard, a slightly browner beard, and then a full black beard. The detail on the spears, the shields, everything is just up. Just keeps getting better every time they do it. So next up are the Crossbowmen and Ironbreakers. Crossbowmen now wield a brand new crossbow, crafted in wood, as dwarves do not rely on iron alone. If you've read the Hobbit Concept Art Book Chronicles, you might recognise it from Paul Tobin's art book or artwork. Or maybe you will recognise them from Age of the Ring, as they use the same reference for their own models. Additionally, a shield has been placed on their backs to ensure the red colour remains visible from a distance, even with heavy armour, making them easy to distinguish on the battlefield. So that's nice. To be fair, they all should have had shields on their backs anyway. That's like a dwarven tradition, is to have shields even while wielding a crossbow. Like with Total Warhammer as well. Well, Warhammer in general has dwarves just carrying shields everywhere. The Ironbreakers posed a greater design challenge. The previous iteration of Edain Mod always gave them cloth elements at the front and back, but we decided that they needed additional details to reinforce their elite status. Drawing from references found in Weta Workshop's concepts, they were given extra plating to further differentiate them from standard infantry. The question of their mattocks also arose. Various designs were considered, including replacing the broad, flat blade with a hammer-like head, or using Bofur's pickaxe. We even considered... Oh, gone too far there. We even considered keeping it untouched. Ultimately, the decision was made to refine their existing weapon design, preserving the unique silhouette they have had for so many years. So they've still got that like beak and then the full mattock shape there. Then obviously blade and shield if you go that way. And the banner now looks so much nicer. Where it's actually sitting on the back, you're not carrying it around, which dwarves don't normally do. They would carry it on their backs. Even on some of my my Games Workshop miniatures for the dwarves. They have some of the banners on the backs. Not all of them, though. Not all of them. Then the crossbow you can see is made of wood. It's not like a silvery metal all the way around. It's just a bit of metal there, but then the actual crossbow itself is wood. And then you've got a nicer string look there, and then the shield on the back as well. Really like it. Again, you've got different coloured beards. Can't see the beard on this man, though. Dwarves are extremely strong for their height, but most of these were strong even for dwarves. And then the Ram Riders, my favourites, the one reason I play the Iron Hills in the first place. The Ram Riders have always been one of the most iconic elements of the Iron Hills army. Yep, they have been. The scene from the Battle of Five Armies where the dwarves charge into battle on their mountain-bred mounts remains a fan favourite. While some fantasy edition adaptations have depicted dwarves riding boars or bears, we have always favoured the idea of these proud warriors riding creatures naturally suited to the rugged terrain of their homeland. Following this, Lord Elisar sought to do justice to these cavalry units by refining their models based on various reference materials. The final iteration features 3 horn variations and 5 different fur textures, ensuring diversity within the unit while maintaining a cohesive aesthetic. To be fair, the main thing they changed about this I like is the fact they're now actually carrying spears. Before they were always carrying like small hammers or axes, which yes was good. The spears just work so much better than on a cavalry unit. You've got to admit, you want a long spear or pike-like weapon on mount. So yeah, that's a nice aesthetic for me change. The horns and the fur, I'm not going to notice it. I never zoom in my games. If you've watched enough of my games, you'll know. All right, let's get this done. Send in the Gorts. The heroes of the Iron Hills. While much attention was given to the units, the heroes of the Iron Hills are also receiving substantial updates. Because only Dane appeared in the films, the rest of the Iron Hills heroes had more creative freedom in their interpretation. The challenge for our rework was to create designs that respected both the established Edain Mod aesthetic and the Weta Workshop vision. So firstly is Murren and Dra, which are actually models I have. I've tried painting them. I'm terrible at painting. I remember back in the day where the model of Dra was with a bow, and they were more scout themed, not more heavily armoured. But you know, I do like this version a lot as well, and the crossbow fits obviously with the full crossbow dwarf unit. So Murren and Dra are the officers of the Iron Hills. Murren and Dra were the simplest to adapt, as their designs already closely resembled standard Iron Hills soldiers. They are, after all, officers of the army and not born royalty. Their models remain largely unchanged, aside from small refinements, which I'm going to guess is the shield is now hexagonal with the Murren. Dra's Pavas, I feel like, is now a full flat bottom and has a that small peak as well. Is nice. That axe, I think, is the same. The mattock bit on the other end, I think, isn't different. Obviously, the crossbow here has changed as it has been for the other dwarves. But other than that, I can't see much. Well, where was I reading? I've already just forgotten. Murren now wields a new axe, closely inspired by film references, and his helmet's crest has been slightly extended. Okay, so it's been given a slightly larger, like mohawk shape on his helmet, and yeah, the axe now has that on the back as well. Where was I? The two heroes continue to share a shoulder pad set, emphasizing their bond as warriors and friends. Initially, they were given brown beards to stand out from their army, but after some consideration, we instead decided that they would retain their original black beards, while the general dwarven army will receive more beard colour variations. In the Third Age, few dwarves are prone to wanderlust. Murren and Dra are two exceptions to this rule, having travelled far and wide beyond their home in the Iron Hills. Like I said, the Iron Hill scouts, we need them, we want them. Not the Ram Rider kind, like just scouts that can throw axes or shoot bows. But you know, that's just me thinking about the Games Workshop models too much. Then we have Narin, Dane's messenger. Oh, look at those curled horns. The thing is, I've looked at these already. I just skimmed past them. I've completely not paid attention to any of the detail. So Narin was a particularly exciting hero to redesign. Given the prominence of ram-mounted hero units, it was important that their commander be visually distinct, which, to be fair, I would often lose Narin among the Ram Riders, so this is a nice change. His mount was given unique spiraled horns setting it apart from the standard cavalry rams. Furthermore, while typically referred to as a ram, Norin's mount is actually a female goat. Okay, cool. To reflect this, subtle adjustments were made. Her bulk was slightly reduced, and her build made leaner to suggest greater agility and endurance over long journeys. Makes sense. He is basically the messenger, the scout. He is the scout. Visually, Norin's goat stands out with a distinctive coat colour, and unlike standard cavalry rams, she wears fewer armour plates. Instead, she carries saddlebags and a blanket, reinforcing the idea that Norin, as a diplomat and the most renowned messenger of Edain, might transport gifts or supplies during his travels. Honestly, that's the kind of life I would live. I'm not going to lie. I would live the more peaceful life, just travelling with a goat companion and just sleep with them. Norin himself also underwent minor refinements. His beard was extended for a more dwarven appearance. Oh yeah, his beard was quite small. I hope they have a nice new character portrait for him then. Norin himself also underwent his beard with more dwarven appearance, and his boots were redesigned to resemble those of a seasoned traveller rather than a standard issue military footwear. So no longer like full metal, more like worn down leather. Lastly, his scroll case was updated with a capsule style design, reminiscent of the ones seen in Erevor's treasure hall during an unexpected jet. Wait, what? The boots were designed to seem traveller rather than. Lastly, his scroll case. His scroll case was updated with a. Oh yeah. I see it now. It's the thing his actual like messenger duties are to carry scrolls around. Yep. We're hastening to our kinsman in the mountain, since we learn that the kingdom of old is renewed. And then day 9 foot. Let's have a look at him quickly. Oh, that boar. That big piggy, look at him. Look at him, he's ready for the action. And Dane's got that big fur coat. That commands respect. Dane's model itself largely follow Weta Workshop's established design. Staying faithful to his film appearance, his head and cape remain unchanged from the previous version, but his shoulder guards and tassets have been reworked. His mount, however, presented a greater challenge, as this marks the first time Lord Elisar designed a creature model from scratch. Indeed, the small pig that Dane rode in Battle of Five Armies was long disliked. Damn. While Dane riding a boar could be accepted, the comically small pig was not an ideal representation of his character. Instead, inspiration was taken from an early Weta concept for a much larger, more intimidating boar. That's a big boy or girl, and they look like they're ready to just trample someone. This resulted in a battle-ready beast that retains all of Dane's boar gear concept while appearing far more opposing. This is Dane, Lord of the Iron Hills, Thorin's cousin. And then Thorin III, the last hero, the Berserker Prince. The final hero of the Iron Hills, Thorin III, proved to be one of the most challenging characters to finalise. For Thorin, there were quite a few different artistic directions among the team. Some wanted a model that emphasised his status as the Prince of the Iron Hills, while also making his resemblance to his father, Dane, unmistakable. Others wanted to stay true to the idea of him being a hot-tempered young dwarf, something in the like of a brutal fighter always looking for combat. Some things from his previous design were particularly controversial, especially his bare arms and his head. Yeah, he didn't have much of a beard with the Iron Hills version, but oh! Beautiful. Again, I've looked at all of these already. I've just forgotten it all. After long discussion and debates, the following design was proposed. Thorin will now start with Dwalin's light armour from Battle of Five Armies to keep the exposed arms, but only for the forearm, maintaining a bit of his brawler appearance. Then we added a chest plate matching his father's armour. Finally, to reinforce his fierce aesthetic, the idea of a asymmetric armour was implemented, featuring a single shoulder guard and tasset. Yep, that is a beefy shoulder guard. And a second axe. I take that's going to be coming out when he goes into his Berserker mode. His beard was also another tricky part. The initial idea featured sharp, pointed mustaches and a pointy beard with a face reusing Dane's face, but not everyone was convinced. When we tried a different face and a beard loosely inspired by Freyne, but this time again it was not satisfying. So we turned to Wetter's concept art books and found a design originally meant for Floor, a layered beard design style that we really liked. We settled on this look, adding a small ball-like tusks as a nod to his father's iconic design. All these reflections led to the concept you see here. Yeah, you can see the two small ball tusks right under his nose as mustache, pointing down, by the way, fully pointing down. Not like pointing upwards like a distinguished gentleman. And then the multi-layered beard. That is... Oh, if someone could actually make that beard in real life, good for you. But you're not going outside a lot if you're carrying this beard around. It's a nice beard, I'm not going to lie. But yeah, that takes years to make. Talking from, not from experience, but seeing it, people trying to make a beard like that happen. That is years of dedication making that one beard work. Then Bob II, Bran's son, became king of Dale, and Thorin III Stonehelm, Dane's son, became king under the mountain. This extensive research on rework honours both the Edain Mod legacy and the rich visual storytelling established in the Hobbit films. By refining units and heroes alike, we wanted to bring the dwarves of the Iron Hills into a new level of design, ensure they remain as formidable and visually striking as ever on the battlefield. As always, we're looking forward to your feedback. Honestly, I like it. It's more polished, which is always a improvement. Always something to look into, because this is not the kind of model you would see if you thought about this game being 20 years old. This is beautiful designs. All the way around beautiful. Now, what we do need, a little bit more for the Iron Hills, is some mechanic that makes them more appealing than both Erebor and Ered Luin, which is really hard because I love both of them respectively because of Dale and Ered Luin just having the company of 13. But all in all, this is really good. And now, time to go on to the second of the three things. Now to the Bounders from the Shire. And this was released on June the 4th, so start of this month. The last one was middle of May, so about a month and a half ago. So today we want to present a new unit coming to Imladris as patch 4.8.2, the Bounders from the Shire. These brave hobbits will aid Imladris in the early game and broaden their opening moves. Now, when I first looked at these, I immediately thought, wow, this is a cool thing. They're going to be really good, right? Not really cheap. Reminds me a bit of how they did it with Age of the Ring. But then I do remember quite a few things from this. So firstly, the Bounders are hobbits tasked with protecting the borders of the Shire. Bounder literally means persons watching the boundaries. With the approach of the War of the Ring, the number of Bounders greatly rose to combat the increasing appearance of strange creatures on the borders. Defenders of Shire. In-game, the Bounders are a standard tier horde of 15 units that can switch between ranged and melee attacks. They can recruit from hobbit farms costing 300 resources and take up 90 command points. They have standard tiers, apart from their speed that is below average and the following abilities. So, firstly, cost range of 300. I can see that very, very quickly after they come out, getting reduced to at least 200. I'm not going to lie, I can see this happening. And 90 command points, I can see going down to about 80. Obviously, this is them trying to nerf the fact that this is a cheaper unit than your Imladris elves, and they're just meant to be acting as protectors for your hobbit farms, which are meant to discount your Dunedain, which are also cheaper units that are overall also better. But anyway, let's keep going through this, and then I'll let the Edain team go over their reasons, and then I'll go over mine again. So throw rocks at level 1, switch between rock throwing ranged attack for the Shire. Even though hobbits are mostly peaceful people, they are surprisingly resilient in the defense of their homes. In a large radius around hobbit farms, they gain speed, armor, and deal more damage. Bonus lasts for 30 seconds after leaving the area. Passive ability. So same as the peasants, how they can defend their farms when they just get extra bonuses if they're near a farm or a flour mill. The two buildings that you can recruit peasants from, if that wasn't clear. And then finally, food and cheer and song. Hobbits value their peace and quiet more highly than any other people in Middle-earth. At any point, they can enter any hobbit farm to lay down their weapons, reimbursing 50% of their build costs. Passive ability. So it's similar to what you can do with all units, turning back to the Citadel. But if you send them specifically to a Hobbit farm, you get more money out back from them. So you're basically spending 150 resources to get... you're spending 150 resources overall if you just buy the unit, have them do something, and then put them back again. So, for example, going off to fight against a Warg lair, a Troll lair, because they've got the ranged attack, could be really good at taking out early lairs. Saves you 600 resources for pikemen. Imladris has always had a hard early game by design, and we don't want that to change too much. From their base, they can only recruit elite elves with small unit counts. Their standard tier units all come from external plots, which is why the Bounders felt natural to add. We wanted to be careful not to overshadow the Dunedain. They should remain Imladris' premium spam strategy, but the gap was always hard to bridge. Unless you constructed the Rivendell barracks, you were stuck with just your starting units to get the ball rolling. All this was exacerbated in free build when you had no wandering companies to start out with. The Bounders of the Shire are meant to bridge this gap by giving Imladris new strategic options, providing a useful early game defensive unit without taking the spotlight later on. Again, I do think at some point they are going to get buffed. I think they're just testing the waters with this. They don't want it to be too strong, but they're going to find out very quickly because I think anyway, because Hobbit farms discount Dunedain anyway. If the Hobbit Bounders were just cheaper, they're going to get made more often. But it also could depend upon how fast they recruit. If they're peasant speed of 60 seconds, no, they're definitely going to get buffed in some way or another. But if they actually get recruited really fast, like faster than... about as fast as Imladris troops with Eristor in the barracks, for example. So faster than regular recruitment, like every 30 seconds. No, 20 seconds. Then I think they will be good at that price because you will normally get the value back unless they die, which is unfortunate. Bounders are not cost-efficient units, as I've already said. On their own, they are more expensive than most standard tier swordsmen, take up more command points, and lose in 1v1s pretty much all the time. Even like this, the Bounders provide a strong early game creeping option with their ranged option that are quite effective at taking out creeps without suffering too much damage. Like I've already said, it's a good creeping option. Gets rid of creep very easily instead of wasting 500 resources and that unit taking a lot of damage. And you have to either waste a heal power, take some rest from your wandering companies, or have a well built somewhere, which is also quite expensive. However, 4th Shire makes them a terrifying unit around Hobbit farms, which allows them to defend their home from small groups and then chase down survivors. Without the buff, however, they lose against most standard infantry using their mechanic, formation, ambush, etc. Finally, Food and Cheer and Song is a thematic ability that allows the player to soften the blow on their higher purchase costs while transitioning to other units. Hobbits fight to protect their homes, but once this is accomplished, they will return to their lives. It also ties in with Rivendell's strong focus on keeping your units alive. Unlike almost all other early game units like Dunlandings, Wild Goblins, etc., this ability rewards a careful player who keeps their hobbits alive instead of trading them away for economic damage. Which, again, can be difficult to do. It's not like you can just make them and not expect them to just get immediately slapped by whatever comes out at them. The point is, you have them, you keep them fighting from range with their rocks as an early game range unit without a outpost, and you just keep spamming infantry, Rivendell infantry anyway. I feel like that is a strategy that's going to come out of this. They're going to be a alternate damage type range unit for Imladris, which I like. I like that is actually how it's going to be implemented. What their damage type is, I do not know. If it is pierce damage, I'll question it because I'm like, does a rock really pierce? I mean, if it's a sharp stone, yes, but wouldn't it be more like not slash? Well, it's something to think about. Siege damage, make it siege damage. Reinforcement from the Shire. The more quick-witted of you might have noticed that these units are very similar to the ones summoned from the spellbook. And just have a quick look at them again. You can see that's what they look like. That's kind of their same abilities as well, with the throwing rocks and for the Shire ability. Although that used to be while they were standing still. So, they've made some changes to the power. Reinforcements from the Shire will now summon 3 hordes of Hobbit archers and farmer maggots. So, the Hobbit archers already exist with Arnor. So, they're just putting that into here as well. But also adding farmer maggot with his 3 wolves. They won't get through us. The archers give the player early game range reinforcements that shoot faster the longer they are in combat, allowing them to deal a surprising amount of damage. So again, it's emphasizing the point, you want your hobbits to be fighting from range, not in melee. They don't have the capacity to fight in melee as good. And to be fair, whenever I would use reinforcement from the Shire with Imladris, the reinforcement from the Shire from Imladris, I would always change it to rock throw mode. Don't care how far away the enemy is. Don't care if they're right in my face. I'm throwing stones because then I don't have to waste time moving them around. They don't have to waste time trying to hit things. They just go straight away, lob them rocks. Lobbing rocks every time. Beautiful. The archers... Farmer Maggot is a solid melee combatant that is accompanied by his 3 dogs, Grip, Fang and Wolf. The dogs produce the speed of any cavalry that comes near them. Okay, so that's taken from the Spiderlings from Doggeldor. Honestly, much more welly implemented with just a small summon with archers, so you protect your archers from cavalry. Good. They're making the things work together. Other changes with this edition. Part of our hope is that this will incentivize Dunedain starts or will make Dunedain starts a more viable option. However, we are also making additional changes to make this strategy better. Dunedain can now purchase upgrades globally once Halberd is on the field and at the correct level. This removes the clunky requirement to have Halberd near the units that you wanted to upgrade and allows you to split the army more effectively. To be fair, the AI already did this. The AI already did this, and they cheated because they didn't even have them at the right level and they were still getting fire arrows and forge blades. Oh, I hated AI when they did this, which is why I stopped playing as Imladris so much. Because they actually became one of the strongest AI factions. Anyway, the change pairs nicely with the new ability we're giving Halbarad. He will now be able to summon at Dunedain 10 near allied settlements. Oh, okay. From which the player can recruit Dunedain. This gives the player easier access to more recruitment centres from which to increase the number of Dunedain. You know what? When I last tried to do a Dunedain run with Imladris, it fell off so hard. It fell off by the time the Mordor faction made Grond. And so I said, you know what? Screw it, we're going all elves now, because this is how it works. This is how the game works. It's too long. We got to move on. We got to move on from the Dunedain. They're not that good anymore. And then after that, I said, screw it, we're just going all Imladris all the time, because why not? Finally, specifically for free build, the player will be able to recruit up to 2 wandering companies from the Citadel once Gildor has been recruited, making up for their removal as starting units in free build. You know what? Good representation for free build. I'm never going to show it off. I have no reason to show it off. But for those of you that do play free build and complain about it, there you go. You can get your 2 wandering company units. We hope you like this article and are, as always, looking forward to your feedback from the Edain team. And that is it for now from Edain. But we still have Unchained to talk about. And this one is a lot bigger because you might notice this is for 4.8.2. So it's basically a mini patch, if you think about it, compared to like the 4.8 patch, which took a lot longer to build up. So 4.8.2, given how much they've already talked about it, I feel like this might be it. There might be one more thing they show off, and then they release the patch. But with Unchained, this is 4.1. This patch has been building up a little bit longer, and that's why I've not started Unchained yet, because it's not been the new patch. I'm going to be going over all of this. There's a lot more to talk about in this one. Well, actually, there's not a lot more to talk about. There's a lot more to show. So, Edain Unchained 4.1 feature highlight number 1. So we've got at least one feature highlight. So this is just one. There might be one or two more after this. So, greetings fellow Edain Unchained fans. It's been nearly 3 months since the last big Edain Unchained 4.0 released. As announced back then, we took a longer break from modding after we released the small hot fixes 4.02, 4.03, available through the in one launcher, which I'm grateful for because that's the only way I use I play these mods now. Because the modding process and bug fixing was pretty exhausting. Understandable. Take a break. Have a nice relax. Screw this heat. Me trying to explain why I'm having a small break. But now we are back at working on Edain Mod and Unchained, and we are happy to announce that we plan on releasing 4.1 in the coming weeks. Besides plenty of fixes for the bugs and balance issues that occurred with 4.0 due to the amount of changes that were implemented with that version, version 4.1 will also feature bigger visual and conceptual changes at which we will take a look in this article. So beginning with Rohan, and I've looked at these buildings. Immaculate. Chef's kiss. Beautiful. Let's go through them all. So, Rohan building visual update. We are very excited to share with you a completely new look for most Rohan buildings. The Rohan buildings felt visually rather lacking before, especially compared to those of other factions that got updated and new models in the past like Isengard recently. For this reason, most Rohan buildings will get an improved and overall more consistent design with 4.1. Now, if the base Edain mod uses these models as well, I'll love it. I'll love it. I understand if they don't want to, because they're the ones that made most of the Rohan models that are currently available. But at the same time, I feel like there's going to be an update at some point for Rohan's base models in base Edain, and I hope they use these as well. I really hope they do. I hope both mods are constantly working with each other, because that would be that would show even more love for the community as well. Personally, that's how I think it would be. So the Rohan flour mill, which for those of you who don't know, as I've already said, it's where you spawn your peasants from in the base. So now I've got, instead of just like a big hut, you've got a smaller hut that looks a bit more open. You've got a horse there in the background. You've got a big haystack there where the horses go and eat. I think the horse is actually on a little like mill design, where it's actually constantly walking, churning something. Then obviously that design builds up a bit over time. And then you get your little tower at the end with a banner sticking out, which is nice. And the Rohan farm, this is the settlement plot Rohan farm. So before it was just, again, like a single simple building. And now they've made that simple building smaller, but surrounded it with a wood fence. And then that wood fence gets laid with stone as well. And the house gets a bit more extended. And then afterwards, it gets the whole tower structure as well. And before I go on to the rest, I just want to say that, yes, these don't look like so beautiful as, say, Gondor's structures. Because Gondor's structure redesign was immaculate. But considering Rohan compared to Gondor, Gondor's all stone structures. Very little wood is used in their structures. Rohan is all wood and hay, because they're more of I'm trying to think of the actual term. Is it Northmen? A lot more of a Northmen design, a more simple design. They're not as like rich as Gondor. They're not as architecturally advanced as Gondor or the dwarves or even the elves. If you look at the Imladris, look at the Noldor designs. But yeah, I still love these designs. So simple, so rustic. It actually does have that same amount of appeal in it in a different way. And obviously you've got the farmer there ploughing the fields. Then you've got the Rohan stud. Oh, look, that's a big stud. No, stud farm. It's where you got your horses. And this is for both... for base Edain, it's both inside and outside of the base. So settlement plots and in your base. I'm just going to take a quick drink. Oh, talking for so long really hurts the throat. Yeah, this design is very reminiscent of the original, just slightly more textured up. It might be I have lower textures on, but yeah, you can see the design does improve. The wooden fencing becomes, again, like the farm above it. Stone laid, and then wooden fencing after that. And then it has the horse statue heads everywhere, and then you get the tower as well. Really like the design. The archery range, it's giving the Gondor archery range, but again, instead of using all stone, it's all wood. And it's such a simple thing, but it just gives me that rush of adrenaline just looking at this, being like, I can see the love and that this model's been put through. It just looks so good. You can see it starts off with very little to start with, then gets slightly more detailed. Got the straw tower structure there, and then you get the banner on top of there, and the extra wood over the archery tower, archery post. The stables is the same stables in Edain as it is in vanilla. So again, a more detailed design. You've got some banners outside the main door. There's no like gate here anymore. It's just fully open, so you're wasting a few seconds waiting for those cavalry to come out. You've got a man here dealing with a horse. I think he's taking out or replacing some horseshoes. You can see some more horses to the side there. Really lovely little design. Again, every small detail is so hard to find because there's so many details, and I love it. Then the armory is very, very reminiscent again of the design for Edain already, just slightly more changed up. Again, it has they use the stone and wood design everywhere, and I love it. I love how they're keeping consistent with every single building, so it looks like every building belongs together in a like conformed style. I love it. And again, it builds up, gets larger. You've got the blacksmith there sorting out a blade, and again I'm putting so much detail into this, but yeah. Then the citadel, that's the camp design, that's the castle design. That must be the outpost design as well, actually. But yeah, those extra monoliths there, or just pillars, I guess, not monoliths. And all the crossed horses, and that gold cut into wood golden etching is so. I just love it. However, the changes for Rohan 4.1 will not only be visual, as a brand new economy building for Rohan will be introduced with 4.1, the warehouse. And this is the new warehouse building. You can see it's a very simple stables looking building, but it's not stables actually. It's more like a warehouse basically. It's a place you store things. There's not really much else to talk about there. You store all kinds of things in a warehouse. So the warehouse replaces stud farms as an internal economy building. Like when every faction has at least four different economy buildings, 2 internal, 2 external. And yes, to be fair, the stud farm was the one thing that was the same on both ends. Even though technically, flour mill and farm, different names, same building. I'm not sure if the Edain Unchained team changed that. By this, the player has a choice between 2 options and can adapt his building decision to his playstyle and strategy he is going for. Of course, the stud farms will remain as external economy buildings, which does mean you're going to have less cavalry discounts unless you can take a lot of settlements, which is a small balancing thing I can appreciate, because discounted cavalry is so premium as Rohan. So this is going to make you want to build more stud farms and have less peasant recruitment outside your base and less rally points outside your base for healing and Theodred. Of course, the stud farms are amazing. External. The warehouse will open up a ranged infantry focused strategy for Rohan, as it discounts units from the archery range, which includes yeoman archers, pitch throwers, and spear throwers. Which, by the way, I still love how Rohan's free ranged units. I'm not counting horse archers here. Screw horse archers, but yeoman archers, pierce damage, pitch throwers, siege damage, spear throwers, specialist damage. I love how there's just 3 different damage types. It just pushes all my buttons in all the right places. Additional changes. Apart from Rohan, there are also changes coming to the other factions here and there. Melee wizard heroes increased health by an extra 1,000. So Gandalf and Saruman, their power abilities no longer grant bonus HP, but allow both heroes to do AoE melee damage with their base attacks, which I love. I love it because Saruman's ability was always were always little damage, but knock back. But only hit one thing at a time. Now it's several things, hitting hard, knock back. Additionally, because Saruman's abilities that deal no damage are also buffed through the spell, Parasleech and Wormtongue, Shellfax will be faster than other horses, which I love a lot because it means Gandalf can just really just run into somewhere, word of power, and just run back out. Oh, I've actually thought about making a video like just two orcs talking to each other, and then just Gandalf coming out of nowhere, word of powering them. Let me know if you want me to make that kind of short video, because I do want to try and do something like that. Anyway, next thing, the Belfalas Archer range will be moved back into the base as a regular buildable structure. Okay, so they took that out. I mean, I understand it. Archer ranges for Belfalas only gives one archer and fire arrows at level 3, so I had no level 2 option, which is it's the one reason I never build archers outside of fiefdoms and the what they called the things that what's his name can make Achilleon, not Achilleon, no, not Achilleon, Ampharos. That's a Pokemon. Amraphos. Squires, that's it. I only make the squire archers and things. So they've changed that. So we felt that the archer range didn't work that well as a summon building. They made it a summon. Oh. As well as composite bows are now unlocked by just recruiting a Kirion. Okay, that's good. And he can still only be recruited from the what's it called? The sailor building. What's it called? I don't remember. I don't play Belfalas a lot. As we overall want to reduce the amount of summon structures for Belfalas. Assessing elite archers with a Kirion's level 3 ability. One building felt underwhelming and often came too late in the game. Yes, it was a bad idea. His second and third ability were reworks. Archer of the Shore. Akirion is the most talented archer on Gondor's shores and, in all his battles with the Corsairs of Umbar, has gathered the most skilled ranger fighters of all navies around him, who now answer his call. Kirion's arrows reduce the speed of hit heroes by 3% for 3 seconds. Each level, the penalty increases, so up to 30% reduction of speed for heroes. Okay. Sailors can be recruited, and composite bows can be researched in archer ranges and lighthouses. Last the building, lighthouse. Passive ability, and then the Sailor Prince. Akirion has spent his entire life alongside sailors and common men from the fiefdoms and is able to rekindle their fighting spirit in any situation. For 30 seconds, Akirion gains experience. Meanwhile, nearby fiefdom units and sailors capture resources for killing enemies and deal more damage. Right. That's a scavenge ability on units you can summon without spending resources with upgrades. I might be playing Belfalas in Unchained. Okay, that's nice. A level 5 nearby archer will also gain more range. Trample resistance, and every 10 seconds a fallen soldier is restored. Holy shit! They're making this hero good. They're taking this hero from I might make him tier to holy shit, I'm making him tier. Nice. The Belfalas Horn and formation effects will be changed. We like the focus on speed being part of Belfalas' unique gameplay, especially compared to other sub-factions of Men of the West. Yes, I do remember that in their formations. But in practice, the amount of speed buffs turned out to be too much for still pretty heavily armoured soldiers. Formation, Horn, Central Spell can grant up to 50% speed. My gosh, oh golly. That's why the speed buffs of the standard formations will be slightly reduced with 4.1, and the Horn spell no longer grants speed at all, but damage and armour. Another problem that occurred gameplay-wise was the central spell formation of the Lamroth. For Honor and Gondor, the case is pretty simple. Their formations slow them down, but it made them stronger in combat, with the central spell strengthens even more. So the player always uses the formations while fighting, and turns them off while not fighting. That's, yeah. For Belfalas, it's pretty different because their formations... Oh, they gave Belfalas the same abilities as the Men of Dale, where they get bonus speed but lose their stats, so they're more moving between bit to bit. Honestly, I'd keep that. Make them weaker in direct combat, but better in running around the map and chasing enemies. Oh, right. Gondor has formations, so you would negate the debuff, but it wouldn't really be worth it because the extra speed... Yeah, I can see it. the situation didn't work that well with formation spell anymore because it gave Belfast damage, armor, and speed, which makes Belfast soldiers in formations were always better at direct combat and running chasing. This led to boring gameplay for Belfast because once the central power was unlocked, it was always the best decision to put the units in formation, which is also not the point of a formation. Exactly, you want to have it as a choice, not as a not as a peer pressure choice. If you don't choose it, you're being silly. How about a situation where because this leads to a boring gameplay decision. For this reason, the formation of the Lamros spell will now grant different bonuses. A speed bonus remains and will be slightly buffed, while both the damage and armor buff were removed. Instead, the spell allows Belfast soldiers in formation to hit. Excuse me? The spell allows all Belfast soldiers in formation to heal themselves outside of combat. You do realize this is a tier 3 power for Arnor. And you're making it the central power for Belfalas? Wow. I don't know if that's going to be strong or not, but that sounds strong. Like I always talk about how Bloodline of Numenor is one of my favorite powers, just in general, and in Arnor it's amazing, which is why you don't get to play as Arnor much. But since with Unchained you can play any of the 3 sub factions at any time, healing outside of combat is so big for a faction that has 15 units in nearly all their units. That's insane. I can't wait to play Belfalas now. I actually want to play Belfalas. Oh no. Oh, bring this out already. I want to play it. Oh god, I'm dying. So the formation will remain especially viable while not fighting and taking map control as well as regenerating. While direct combat, the formations shall be disabled, which means the Belfalas formations play exactly the opposite of Gondor's and Arnor's. Exactly. Give us something unique, which will be a further emphasized by the new effect of the formation spell in 4.1. The Royal Archers of Rohan will be nerfed and changed. Okay, I don't know what they are all about. I know there's a summon for Hammer. Is that now a permanent unit you can get? In 4.0, those units from the newly implemented barracks were really popular due to their newly implemented barracks. I've really got to play Unchained at some point. Oh my god, they've got a barracks building as well? Okay. I'm so confused. And yet so excited at the same time. I should have started with this. The buffs granted by this ability will therefore be reduced by 50%. 3 battalions of Royal Archers also lead to archer-heavy gameplay for Rohan, which we felt was a bit too much for a faction that shouldn't focus that much on archers. I mean, makes sense. I barely ever make archers for Rohan. I always go cavalry and peasants. For this reason, the unit will be locked before recruiting Hammer first, which makes sense because he can summon them at level 10, as he's the commander of Rohan's Royal Guard. Exactly. Additionally, the Royal Archers will no longer be able to switch weapons permanently, but will mainly be a heroic swordsman unit, switching to bows because the temporary ability was available at level 4. But they're called Royal Archers. Why am I finding reason to nitpick at things? What's wrong with me? Celeborn's first 2 abilities will be changed. Oh yeah, I remember reading about this. This is one of the few things I actually read. Lord of the Golden Wood conceptually stays the same, but now has been exclusively defensive focused, which, to be fair, is good because he was way too strong with that extra damage buff from just having more heroes near him. As no longer has damage, but only bonus armor. His armor buff becomes exponentially stronger than more heroes, as the more heroes are nearby, and now enemy heroes in a significantly larger radius grants him this buff. Furthermore, Celeborn's second ability, Silver Blade, will be buffed, as it felt rather weak compared to similar abilities of other hero killers like Aragorn's Swordmaster and Thorin's Blood Rage. To be fair, I was never really comparing it to either of them because it gave them bonus experience, which is always a good thing, because killing heroes will give you a lot of experience. But yeah, I can see why just giving him more damage as a temporary thing is a good thing. It now has a slightly offensive focus, and now Celeborn drastically increases damage output while fighting. So bathes his blade in silver light. For 30 seconds, he gains attack speed, deals magical damage. That is an important distinction because dealing magic damage over hero damage, I don't know which is better. During the ability, Caliborn's damage increases by 10% with each attack up. Excuse me? I'm sorry, is this part of his second thing when he gets upgraded by his final ability, or is this actually just at level 2? Damage increases by 10% with each attack up to a maximum of 100% after 10 attacks. Every 5 attacks, after 5 attacks, he deals area damage equal to 50% of his normal damage. Oh, no, power silver, it also knocks down heroes. I'm getting really close to the mic for this. Remember when I ranked hero killers and I put Caliborn at number 1 by like a high margin? He's just been made better. He's just been put even higher above every other hero killer. Nothing can stop this man now. Knocking back heroes, that is something only the gods should be allowed to give. Orphan Guard got a new ability. We're really happy with the Orphan Guards as a unit available through the Wizard's Tower and the ability roster. In practice, it turned out that strength-wise, they were kind of underwhelming because as pikemen, they would get killed pretty fast when surrounded by swordsmen, and due to the fact with their level 1 ability, his faithful servants, only grants a benefit while Saruman, a hero for 4,000, is on the field. I understand it. I respect it. So a central spell, rush strategy with going for Orphan Guards didn't really work that well, which we want to change. They will now have access to new ability at level 1, which makes them stronger in combat and more durable. To be fair, they did beat the dog water out of the heroic unit from Gondor. So you tell me if they really need a buff. Shield Wall of Isengard. The Orphan Guard use their massive shields to defend against melee attacks and hold their ground for 30 seconds. They gain bonus armor against all melee damage and heal themselves for 10% of the damage dealt. In return, they lose speed. Again, healing is so impactful. And this is for an evil faction that has really no other kind of healing outside of a hero. Yeah, heroic unit. Definitely feels like a heroic unit now with this kind of thing. Work 10 is no longer produce less resources. Although conceptually cool, this made the Work 10 not really viable until the late game, even when benefiting from the discount for heroic units added with Unchained. My guy, what do you mean discount on heroic units? Do you bring Deathbringers as well? I mean, I know there's the Brutes as well, but they get a discount anyway, don't they? My God. You don't need to discount heroic troops, but I'm not going to complain. It was questionable it was worth it for players to build this eco building at all. So in order to make this Work 10 an equally attractive choice as an external economy building, it will no longer produce less resources. In return, the production bonus will be nerfed. Of course, it has to add up at some point to be worth it, but in the early game, making them seems more worth it now. Orc Scouts limitation removed. Don't say anything else. That's it. Game over. Game over. I'm walking away. Oh my God, why am I so hyped for this? With all the big Isengard changes in 4.8, it became apparent that Dunlendings were really popular and felt like the must-go strategy for Isengard. I mean, I really just said to everyone, go Dunlandings. They are worth it. I've seen people play a 20-minute game, 30-minute game, making only Dunlandings. Why? Because they are good. And now, Orc Scouts have no limitation. If this counts for the Work 10 discount, you know what? I might just go a heroic an Orc Scout spam, like I did back in the good old days of my channel when I said Orc Scouts were amazing. I loved them. Oh God, I'm getting too excited. I'm actually gonna. I'm getting a little woozy now. So the Orc Scouts were not really a viable strategy because they're limited to 4. To change this and to allow more versatility in Isengard's playstyle, this limit will be removed and Isengard Scouts will also be discounted by Mineshaft's next version. Okay, that went over the key point I was going to say. If it was by the work tent, it's not. It's by the Mineshafts. Okay, I'm so hyped for Unchained. I don't know about you guys, but I'm so hyped. AI. Okay, this is the last bit. With 4.1, we found the time to work on the AI in Unchained, and multiple bugs occurred for them with the many changes Unchained introduced. So this is the main reason why I was told not to play Unchained yet by the team, not to play it yet because of these things. So let's see if this would have actually compelled me, because I feel like they would. AI players will build siege units again. They weren't making siege? Really? So that you can't just camp inside the... Yeah, I mean, yeah. Out of every faction, there's only 3 factions that can't just spawn camp. And... oh, but let's later in the game. Okay. So, it sounds like what they did. I feel like this mod was made for me. Because, yeah, I hate Siege. I hate Siege spam, and that's all the AI ever does. It's all Isengard AI ever does. So, they said they will make them later in the game, and for a time they didn't make any at all. I mean, to be fair, I've done spawn camping in some of my videos before, and they weren't very popular. So, I can understand. People don't want to see spawn camping. They don't want to see turtling. That makes sense. Imladris AI constantly builds units from the barracks, and not only cavalry at the beginning, which was a problem that persisted for some time. To be fair, the base Edain Imladris kind of does spam cavalry a lot. And it is evil, because they are one of the best cavalry units in the game by far. To be fair, this feels like a nerf for Imladris AI. Hopefully a good kind of nerf. But I don't know about any of the other things that have happened. I'm going to only find out about those things when I play the game. The Herod AI now levels up its buildings and build units more constantly. Also, the many spawning citizens and increasingly instantly leveled heroes are fixed. Okay. The AI now has access to all Unchained exclusive units, like units from the Rohan Barracks, Mountain Outpost, and so on. Mountain Outpost? If I'm going to guess, what faction would have a Mountain Outpost? It's going to be either Misty Mountains, quite obviously, or the Iron Hills. Those are my 2 guesses for a Mountain Outpost. Of course, there are much more balance changes coming. I love how they just had to put balance in brackets to be like, yeah, it's balancing good and bad. But that's it for now. We hope you like the new changes coming in 4.1 and are as excited as we are for the new Unchained version. In the next article, we'll be taking a look at a visual overhaul for another faction and further changes. So, if I was to guess which faction would get a visual overhaul, I would say... It'd either be their own faction, Harad, or it would be... Honestly, I'm gonna go on a bit of a limb here. I'm gonna say Lothlorien. I think they're gonna do a update visually for Lothlorien or Harad. Those are my guesses. Let me know in the comments who you think is gonna be the next visual overhaul. Anyway, that's everything for today, for this week. Again, I wish I could make more videos if I actually had the energy. I only had enough energy to do this because I wanted to do it. I've been wanting to do it for since I first saw all these updates and thinking, let's just do them all in one go. And again, sorry I didn't make more videos, guys. I will try and make some more shorts like I've done for last week. So I did see some of you guys really liked those shorts. I'll see what I can do. I'll play around with some stuff if I have the time, but because of just things in general in life at the moment, it's very uncertain what's going to happen at the moment. So the fact I made this at all is a miracle. But hopefully things will be going back to normal soon. I want things to go back to normal as soon as possible because I hate dealing with stress. I hate it. I hate it. I'm sure everyone does. But until next time, thank you, and I'll see you around. Later.